Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast. Joined with Chris, special guest Drew. Drew, this is your first Draft Professor podcast, and it sounds like you'll be back again next week at the same time to cover another game next week. But how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling grateful for the opportunity. Excited to get talking about some draft prospects and looking forward to get going.
Yeah. So, Chris, right before we went live, we were talking about the TCU North Carolina game. And I was watching that game last night, and I tell you, TCU has a running back and TCU has a tight end that I think we're going to be talking a lot about. But who from last weekend's games is sticking out to you right now?
From a TCU game, just off the top of my head, we got to talk about Hoover. Heath made some throws that there was one on 3rd and 8. He drilled it right into Jordan Dwyer. And you're looking at, that's an NFL throw. And look, Jordan Dwyer had a game himself. He was all over the place. But yeah, the last night's game, you looked and it was like, okay, Kevorian Barnes was just a thick, bowling ball
That's
type
the
of
TCU running back, right?
TCU.
Kevorian Barnes, TCU running back. Yep.
Transferred over from University of Texas San Antonio. He's not the biggest guy. He's 5'9", 200 pounds, but he just runs with authority. And you saw that game. He every time he hit the hole, he wanted to run people over. It wasn't like going. As the coach said, they wanted to get away from going east-west. They wanted a north-south runner. This guy did a trick. Who else stood out to that game? I mean, Bud Clark, that interception of Bud Clark is just beautiful. I mean, we can't talk about it enough where he baits the quarterback. Gio Lopez doesn't see it, throws to the sideline, and just Bud Clark picks it off, runs it back for a touchdown. That's one of those things. If you're a defensive coordinator, you're looking going, he has the smarts. He knows how to bait quarterbacks. He knows how to get guys to make mistakes. We can't find enough of those guys who are just smart, instinctive safeties.
Bud Clark was my biggest standout. I thought he had an exceptional game last night.
Yeah. So we are here to talk about the Missouri-Kansas game. And covering this game is a combination of, let's say, 2 or 3 things. So the first is, this is not the strongest week of college football games. that would be the first statement I would make. Obviously, Michigan, Oklahoma, we're going to cover that game on Thursday. We're going to be covering the Ole Miss, Kentucky game tomorrow. We just covered Baylor, SMU a few minutes ago, about an hour ago. But there really isn't a lot of games where there are, we'll say, 20 draft-eligible players in the game. Because I think between Missouri and Kansas, as I'm looking at the list, maybe we have 15 players. But there are a couple players in this game that I know draft professors specifically are talking about. But, Chris, who's the highest-rated player for you in this game?
Oh, that's tough. I'll go the most upside right now. That is Damon Wilson Jr. Or Damon Wilson II. We saw him last year in the playoff game against Texas. He was just a monster. He has beautiful power rush moves. He, excellent swim technique. Got in there, forced a fumble against Arch Manning. Was all over the place. He's an interesting character. Right now, he is transferred from Georgia to Missouri. And the first game out there, he is, 2 tackles, 2 sacks. He is just, he has a relentless motor, long arms, explosive first step, great pass rush. And he went just both tackles were sacks. So one was just blew right by out the left tackle, crushed the quarterback. And the second one swims in there, goes past the guard, beats the double team, gets to the quarterback. He's that guy that every year there's always somebody breaks out. We're like, ooh, where did that guy come from? Why is he a first-round draft pick? And to me, this is right now the guy you look at as – I have him as a second round, third round right now because just a pass rush. And we got to see how he does against the run. I want to see him a lot more as a full-time guy who is taking on the best guys without any breaks. But this is going to be a guy who all of a sudden sneaks into their like top 15 range because, look, he's big, explosive, powerful. He has enough size at defensive end. He's 6'4", 260, where it's like, okay, we could probably add another 15 pounds, but it won't slow him down. I mean, this is what, when you look at the NFL and what they're looking for defensive ends, this is the guy they go prototype, edge rusher, gets to the quarterback. We need as many of these guys as possible.
Yeah. So Damon Wilson Jr. appeared, I believe, on 2 different edge big board top 10s. So as we've done, different summer scouting and such, his name appeared, but it's not appearing consistently. Drew, what do you have on edge Damon Wilson Jr. from Missouri?
I mean, you said a lot. I just want to see him get a little bit more consistent. Back at Georgia, didn't have a ton of production, which isn't surprising. It's a powerhouse school, heavy level of competition. But you want to see him still thrive in the SEC. We want to see getting his production up. He's got all the skills. He's got physical abilities. He's strong. He's fast, as Chris just said. We just want to see him get those numbers up and see what he can do against remaining SEC competition.
Okay. And Drew, who's your highest rated player in the Missouri-Kansas game?
It's tough right now. Part of me wanted to go Jalen Daniels, Kansas quarterback, but I'll talk about him later. But I'm going to go Kevin Coleman, Missouri's wide receiver. Transfer from Mississippi State, where he was pretty productive last year. He had 932 yards, 6 touchdowns. Now transferring to Missouri, he's going to have a big role in because they don't have Luther Burden or anyone like that anymore. He didn't have the biggest game on whatever day they played against Central Arkansas, 6 for 7, 48 yards. But they're going to use him a lot in this offense. He's always in motion. He's always attracting defense. They're going to get him the ball in space and let him run. He's shifty and a great route runner. I'm really excited to see him this year.
Okay. So one of the things that already, right, because that was a very open-ended question. I just said, who's your highest rated player? You each got the same question. Neither of you said Cayden Green. And when this podcast was put together, Cayden Green was the only name that I had seen consistently mentioned by other draft professors on their podcasts and things like that. So offensive tackle Cayden Green from Missouri. Drew, do you see him as an offensive tackle from a draft perspective, or do you think he kicks inside? And what's your preliminary assessment on Cayden Green?
I mean, we'll see how he plays this year, but his first game against Central Arkansas was not good at tackle. He gave up a sack, 2 pressures where the defender flat out beat him on a quick move, gave Bo Pribula gave him pressure immediately. So you want to see that fixed up. If he can progress and really start to look a lot more comfortable towards the end of the season, I could see him staying there and becoming a good prospect. But if he doesn't and kind of stays like this, I really think it'd be beneficial to kick him back inside to guard.
Chris, how about you on Cayden Green?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a mulligan on last game because, in credit to Parker Blake, who I've talked to, who has been on my podcast, it's a bitch, turning, pardon my language, taking a guard and going, now you're a tackle because you basically now have to learn different techniques. You have to learn basically, okay, where's the rusher coming from? There's no help, to one of your sides. So there's a lot more intricacies that you're getting used to. Look, I think at worst he's a 2nd round guard. I mean, this is a guy that you can stick in there like a Gray Zabel, go, okay, he can start in the NFL. Depending on the tackle, they got to figure he is. And then look, as I said, it's a lot easier said than done. Oh yeah, let's take a guard, put him in tackle. Ask Joe Tooney how that went. And Joe Tooney's an all-pro guard, and even he had trouble at tackle. We'll see how he does. Can he get to it? This is not an easy game for him because Kansas is going to look at that tape and they're going to send blitzers. They're going to line up their best pass rusher. They're going to figure out all the tricks to get rid of the momentum. So. Yeah, incomplete, I guess, right now for Cayden Green at tackle, just because it's asking a lot for anybody just to go from one position where you're great at to another position which is like apples and oranges.
He hasn't played tackle since high school. So as you were saying, this is a completely new position that he hasn't played in multiple years. So it's going to take some time to get back used to playing it.
And is the general plan or consensus that Missouri plans on keeping Cayden Green at Tech for the foreseeable future?
I don't know, because right now, it's if it's not Cayden Green, I guess the backup plan would be a redshirt transfer from Hutchinson Community College, Javen Richardson. And look, Richardson is a monster of a guy. He's 6'6", 313. It's just Missouri has aspirations. They want to go into that championship game. Their feeling is, look, as long as our defense is going to hold up, we can put enough points on to win 24-21, 20-17, we can do it. Asking a community college kid to play left tackle is just that is rolling the dice. So I think for now it's Cayden Green unless he literally falls off the wagon.
Okay. And then not draft eligible, but probably worth mentioning in this game. He might be the best player in either team, and that's running back Ahmad Hardy from Missouri. So, first of all, Drew, can you clarify? Ahmad Hardy is not draft eligible.
No, he's a true sophomore, transfer from Louisiana Monroe, but this is his true sophomore year.
Right. Do you think he's the best player in the game for either team?
I would put him as that. He is a stud. He's got burst. This kid is going to pop off the screen on Saturday.
Chris, what do you think?
He might not be the best, but he's going to be the most explosive. I mean, you look at his debut year at Louisiana Monroe, it's like, okay, 237 rushing attempts for 1,351 yards, 13 touchdowns. And we saw him, as I said, it's once again, we're not sure how good, the opponent was. It was, caveat here. It was, of all teams, the Central Arkansas, Bears, FCS team, but 10 carries, 100 yards. He gets the ball and he's gone 60 seconds, as they say. So he'll be the most fun to watch in this game.
And in that game, he had, as you said, he had 100 yards, a touchdown. He had 61 yards after contact. He was getting hit early and he was driving through it. You could see his power. On one of his runs, I believe it was his longest of the day, around 44 yards. He took it, found a hole, then you saw his burst just fly through the line, accelerate. And at one point, it was a sweep to the left, to the top end of the screen. He took it up and then went all the way back to the other side of the field. You can see his long speed outrunning defenders left and right before he was eventually dragged down. But, I mean, you love to see what it is out of a true sophomore. I'm pumped to see what he looks like against Kansas, which is going to be a bigger school. So.
Okay, and then I'm just going to work my way down the list. So one of the other players we had was cornerback DJ Graham from Kansas. Chris, what's your preliminary draft analysis on DJ Graham?
He's going to be tested. I mean, we were looking at this here, and I apologize here. I'm pulling up all my notes, which I have tons of here. So on paper, he's going to be the guy who is one of the few cornerbacks Kansas has who I think can actually play. I mean, he's good, not great. I mean, maybe he has a nose to the ball. He tackles well. He's not a big tackler. I don't know. This will be an interesting game to see, Matt, because again, the first game we didn't see much. It was 48-3 against Linwood Lions. He looked great, but everybody looked great there. I mean, Jalen Daniels, was in his short time looked pretty good. Devin Neal, sorry, wrong game here. My apologies. Yeah, but I mean, this will be an interesting game. That's all I can say for now.
So, Drew, how about you, DJ Graham? And you're a disclaimer. Drew attends Kansas, so
you'll know better than I will.
Intimately familiar with at least half of the matchup. But DJ Graham, Drew,
I can go on for Kansas on a while, but I mean, Kansas lost a lot of their cornerbacks last year. Both Melu Dotson and Kobe Bryant went to the NFL. So they brought in someone like DJ Graham, a transfer from Utah State, who will immediately have a big opportunity in front of him. He contains good size, 6 foot, 200. As Chris was saying, he's got some problems tackling. You saw that in the Fresno State game, Kansas' first game, that the defense had, especially on that first drive, they settled in, but kind of the jitters came and they were really struggled tackling at the start. So kind of fixed that up against Wagner. So you want to see that translate to Missouri. But I feel like if he does that, he's going to be tested. As we were talking about Kevin Coleman a little bit, but they also have Marquis Johnson, who had a massive last game. So DJ Graham's going to be tested. It's going to be a big role. See if he can limit some of these explosive plays that Missouri's offense is showing.
Yeah, so, well, I guess we'll get to Marquis Johnson. He's on the list. I was about to jump around, but if we jump around, I'm going to lose track of where we are. So another player, and I know that Bill Sparks has Brett Norfleet as tight end 1. Chris, do you want to pump the brakes on Brett Norfleet being tight end 1, or are you going to plant that flag with Bill?
It's not just Bill, though. I've seen a couple of sites, CBS, NFL. They love him. He's a monster of a tight end. He's 6'7", about 250 pounds, high IQ, savvy runner. He embraces contact. He's not going to shy away from it. So he is a tight end. You see him a lot in the soft hands. Where he's almost never drops the ball. He's not super fast, but he's deceptively mobile. He will get yards after the catch because he can move. This is the guy who always, when you looked at Missouri, he was always there where, he had the big catch or he had, the key first down. Like, they trust him. And are there things you want to see from him? Yeah. He doesn't have great deep speed, so he's a lot like Travis Kelce, where he's going to rely on smarts and just getting open in the zone to get his yards after the catch. He suffered injuries here and there, so you got to wonder, can he hold up to the pounding? And he still needs, some more refinement on the route running precision with timing, comeback routes, quick turns. But, man, just, 6'7", 250 pounds. That's just any quarterback who wants to throw it up there. Any quarterback who's going, I want to throw it high in the end zone or, get a guy who can just make that catch when it's 3rd and 8. Brett Norfleet is a guy's dream. I have him right now probably the 3rd round because of his speed, but I could see him all of a sudden, just moving up to the 2nd round because he just has great hands.
So, Drew, how about you? Brett Norfleet, tight end 1, or is he just a guy for you?
I fall a lot in line with what Chris was saying. I do want to see his long speed improve, but, you can't argue with a tight end that size, good blocker, that sure of hands. He's going to have a role in the NFL offense. Even at his base, he'll have a good role. You just want to see that speed develop a little bit. I want to see him put a full season together healthy to see what he can do this year. If he can play every game, impact every game. So I want to see that. But I would agree with around the 3rd round grade for me right now. That obviously can go up if he has a great year, though.
Okay, and then now we're getting to your guy, Drew. So Jalon Daniels, quarterback for Kansas, is draft eligible. He's playing in this game. This is it for Daniels, right? No eligibility left after this year for him.
This is the final year.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I am bullish on the potential of Jalon Daniels. At his high, he's an amazing quarterback. At his low, it's not good. His struggle has been with either staying on the field or consistency. Last year, he's able to stay on the field, but man, was he inconsistent. 14-12 touchdown to interception ratio, not what you want to see from your starting quarterback. And in 2023 or 2022 were his best years, but he was injured for a lot of those. So you just want to see him put together a full season and be consistent the whole time. But I love his mobility in the pocket. He's an expert at navigating it. His footwork in the pocket when he gets out of the pocket running is impeccable. It is perfect. He squares his shoulders up and delivers a strike. And to start the year, he's been looking really good. His arm strength is on point. He hasn't been missing much throws. He had 1 interception against Wagner, but that was a great play by the defensive back in the red zone. You want to cut down on those, but he really couldn't have. It wasn't fully on him. And yeah, he's been electric to start the year. 36 of 46, 456 yards, 7 touchdowns to the 1 interception, limiting the turnovers. But those 2 games have been against Fresno State and Wagner. This week is going to be – it's the big test for Jalon Daniels. putting that even more, Kansas and Missouri, this is a huge rivalry. This is the first time they've played since 2011. These two fan bases are ready for it. This game's more than just a game. So Jalon Daniels is going to have pressure on him, and I'm excited to see how he handles it.
So, Chris, where are you on Jalon Daniels right now?
Drew did a great job explaining everything. I mean, there's stuff you love about him. He is a dual threat quarterback, 4.5 speed, allegedly timed at. He has a lightning quick release. He can deliver. His arm is, he's an exceptional arm where he can deliver strikes from awkward angles. I mean, sidearm, 3/4. He has a good IQ. I mean, he can do pre-snap reads. He can identify defensive weaknesses when he's on, as we saw in his Liberty Bowl performance, and even when he's upset against Texas. He is a clutch performer. He is everything you want. But he is a 6 foot, 220-pound quarterback. He has had an injury history of, shoulder, back, knees. He's not the most pocket pass disciplined guy. He will drift too far. He'll get happy feet, deep ball accuracy. I mean, look, as Kansas goes, so does Jalon Daniels. If he has big games, I think he'd become draftable eligible. It's just he's that guy that coaches are going to look at and go, crap, can he take the pounding? Is he going to be broken by the time, we're in week 8 if we get to play him? Can a 6 foot, 220-pound quarterback hold up in the NFL, especially for a guy who already has been dinged up a bit? I love the players as a scout, but as a coach, I'd be going, he's too short. The NFL wants like 6'2.5", 6'6" quarterbacks, not guys who are 5'11" to 6 feet tall. They get worried about those small guys.
Another thing I like what you said about the injuries, but he needs to do a better job at not taking these big hits. Sometimes for a play that's maybe a first down on a second down and 10 or something like that, he will take an unnecessary hit that someone at his size you just do not want to see. It's something that you really want to see him improve to be on the field more.
It's for him, it's tough because you look and I think he realizes for Kansas to win, he needs to make these big plays. And it's, this isn't, like I'd argue Ohio State where they just are loaded at a skill position so you can bring a quarterback along slowly. This isn't Miami. This isn't even, I would argue, Texas because even they have some weapons. It's Kansas. So I think Jalon Daniels knows, I got to play hero ball. I got to do this thing. I got to make something happen out of nothing. And again, coaches love that because he is a dog. He will go in there and fight, scratch, claw. It's just, as you said, though, how do you unteach bad habits, which is, coaches love, but they also hate?
That hero ball gets him in trouble a lot. Kansas lives or dies by Jalon Daniels, as you were saying earlier. I think that's what we saw a lot of last season. Kansas started off so rough last season because Jalon Daniels was stringing together 2 interception games where they couldn't do anything. Then at the end of the year, when he started to pick it up, that's when they started to win. So it's kind of which version of Jalon Daniels will you get? Will you get the player who makes the right decisions, makes quick reads, which Kansas has been doing this year? I was looking, I believe his average depth of target against Fresno State was like 4.0. So they get the ball out quick. So will he do that, or will he try to force balls? Will he throw it into double coverage? Will he play hero ball too much and make bad decisions? So I think it's just going to be which one do we see on Saturday.
And if anybody watching wants to see more on Jalon Daniels or any of the other quarterbacks in this class, if you go to the YouTube channel, there's a quarterback playlist. Jalon Daniels has been covered on at least 2 podcasts before this. So if you want to see like a detailed breakdown and hear more people talking about him or any of the other quarterbacks, feel free to check out that YouTube quarterback playlist. Okay, so Chris, there's 2 centers in this game, Connor Tollison from Missouri and Bryce Foster from Kansas. Which do you have as the higher prospect, Chris?
I struggle because they're tailed 2 men. I'll go first with, I'll say, the highest floor, and that's Tollison. He's excellent pulling ability, maintains good leverages, pad level. He's a good athlete, has quick feet, can move pretty well. Cerebral player who, for Missouri, because they've had, array of quarterbacks, he can diagnose defensive fronts. He helps making the pre-snap adjustments to protection schemes. He's never been injured. He has good punch timing and hand placement when he's in his run blocking. He is a ready, tailor-made center. Biggest problem, though, is he's 6'4", 285 pounds, which is a large man, but for an NFL, that is a small center. I mean, he is like Tom Nalen back when the Denver Broncos are playing. And now, he's going to have trouble against bull rushes by bigger defensive tackles, guys like Dominique, Orange. He lacks the raw power to really create movement at the point of attack. He needs to clean up his game and pre-snap penalties and fractions, partly because he is a small center. I have a grade of about a third-round grade right now. He might go a little bit higher because he's a great pass block center. And then you've got Kansas center, Bryce Foster, who is just how can I put it, a very, very large man. Or probably a bear, but basically was wearing man's clothes. We're not sure yet. This guy here is, and Drew probably could tell more, but 6'5", 330, high school standout shot putter, experience against SEC guys. He is a nasty run blocker, smart athlete. Just for him, he's still raw. He's still trying to figure it out compared to Tollison. So I'll say this: if it's right now, if you're a ready-made team, you go with Tollison. If you're a team that's looking, I want to develop a center, I love this guy because he could be a monster, you're probably going Bryce Foster.
Got it. So, Drew, which of the two centers do you have as the better prospect right now?
I do have Tollison slightly right now as well. I have him at a late second, early third grade right now. I really like his athleticism, and I feel like he plays with really good leverage, as you were saying, which helps him with his size deficit. But I also do love Bryce Foster. This kid is a mauler. He played, I believe, 3 years at Texas A&M, so he does have competition against the SEC. And as you said it all, he is just a powerful guy who will move defenders off the ball. And that's what you want to see. You just want to see him develop a lot more. So he's a very fun watch, but we'll see if he can take the next step.
Good. Anything else on the centers? We're ready to move on. Okay. So we have a Jalen Catalon sighting. Yes, he still plays college football, everybody. I think this is the third year that we've covered Jalen Catalon for the draft. He is at Missouri now. He is a safety. Drew, what do you have on safety Jalen Catalon?
I mean, he's experienced. He's been playing since 2019 in a variety of different teams. So you'd like to see that. A little bit undersized, but not bad. 5'10", 200. But he's a ball hawk. I mean, 10 career interceptions. I believe he had 5 last year. He will make plays on the ball. I really like that. I mean, he'll have a role in any defense just with that. But he can play everywhere. He's got snaps in the box. He's got snaps as a free safety. He got snaps as a slot. So I like that versatility, and I think he's a good player on the Missouri defense. I think he could be one who makes a giant impact against Kansas.
Chris, how about you on Jalen Catalon, the safety from Missouri?
He reminds me of Shamari Connor of the Kansas City Chiefs, where he's a nickel corner, but he's also a safety. Sometimes he can play the run, sometimes the pass. Look, he's very aggressive, excels in run support. He loves to just hit people. He'll go after the ball. He is a guy who's just fearless, which you love. He loves to tackle. He's going to go in there and he's going to get his nose dirty. He has good quickness in terms of he can change directions when he needs to. He is a solid leader for that team. The problem is just, physically, can he handle it? He's 5'10", 210. So he's not what you want now in a safety. Like now safeties, you're wanting 6'2", 220, 230, your Jaden Hicks, your Nick Imanawaris. Those are what teams looking at for safeties if you're going to play strong safety or even free safety. Somebody who's physically big. He doesn't have the speed in terms of, he can cover guys man to man for long periods. He gets a bit inconsistent, and he's just, once again, it's that guy who Can he handle the pounding? Can he be healthy long enough to play a full season, not get dinged up? But teams are going to love him because he is that guy he is a football player. And it sounds silly when we say it, but he can play football. He loves football. And he will attack you no matter to the beginning of the whistle to the end of a whistle.
Cool. Okay. So, yeah, you've both done Catalon. You see, and I'm already losing track because I'm bouncing as to like who covers which player first. So, I'm glad that we're still in preseason draft form. Okay.
If I can jump in, the matchup we got to watch. It's just two big monsters going at it. It's Chris McClellan versus Foster. If you're Missouri, this is the guy who I'm high on. He is a huge monster of a man, 6'4", 321 pounds. He has a mean streak, good power rush, pretty athletic for his size. He's an aggressive power tackle who excels in the run. Doesn't have a lot of pass rush moves, can over pursue at times, but he's that run stuffer who's not too big where you're like, oh crap, you might need to go on a diet, but he's not small. And to me, him versus Bryce Foster is the heavyweight fight. This is the matchup you're going to look in the trenches and go, okay, somebody's going to give. One of these two big guys is going to have to give eventually.
That's exactly how I feel on the other side of the ball too, with Cayden Green. And there's a couple of players. I'll start with DJ Withers for Kansas. He had 2 sacks last week. He's a 6'4", 255, been on the team for a while. Him versus Cayden Green on that left side is going to determine a lot. Because if Kansas gives Bo Pribula a lot of time in the pocket, doesn't get much pressure on him, he's going to light him up. He's shown that he can do that in this past game. But I think that's going to be a really good matchup if Cayden Green can look a little bit more confident or if he's going to fall.
Yeah, so keep going on that. Drew, any other players that you like in the game, maybe that we haven't mentioned yet?
There are 2 Kansas receivers that I'd like to go over. Last year, Kansas lost their top 3 receivers and to the NFL draft, all of them graduating. So they really went to the portal to try to find it out. And they found 2 gems. Emmanuel Henderson, he's the transfer from Alabama. He really didn't get much opportunity outside of special teams at Alabama. Totaled, I believe, 80 or about 100 receiving yards in his career in Tuscaloosa. But he's already had a huge impact in the Kansas offense. Last week against Wagner, preface, it's Wagner, so you'd like to see him do it against a little bit bigger competition. But he had 6 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This kid has got blazing speed. He threatens the defense over the top every single play. If the safety doesn't get help, he can burn the cornerback without hesitation. And his running mate is Cam Pickett. He's a transfer from Ball State. He's a redshirt junior, so he doesn't have to declare this year. Henderson's a senior, so he will. But Pickett, 6', 200. This year, he's gone 8 for 9, 106 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So he was kind of that wide receiver 1 in the first game. Kind of took a little bit more of a backseat to Henderson in the second game. But this kid, he described himself as a playmaker, as explosive. And you can see that on film. Kansas really likes to get him the ball in space, whether it's on a screen or quick out route, quick in route, something like that. They like to get him the ball in space and let him go. And so far, that's been successful for him. We'll see if he can continue doing that against a highly good team like Missouri. But both those players have been very dynamic for Kansas so far.
Chris, do you have anything on either of those wide receivers?
I don't, but I'll tell you the guy that's going to match up with them who I think is going to be a great matchup, and that is Toriana Pride. He came over last year, transfer from Clemson. He is this guy who is excellent closing speed. He is a guy who is a pure corner guy in terms of he can cover a guy man to man. This is a guy who Missouri trusts when they're blitzing because look, he's 5'11", 185 pounds. He's comfortable in off man coverage. He has a high level of read routes. Gets good breaks in the ball. He can close down the wide receivers. He is the guy that you look and go, okay, he's fluid, good change of directions. He's not the greatest tackler. He is a pure cover corner, and he's not going to be the guy who's going to be a great physical run guy. But again, if you're trying to stop Jalen Daniels, if you're trying to stop these wide receivers, a good part for Missouri is Toriano Pride is one of those guys you can put in anybody, and it's like, okay, we don't have to worry about sending a safety over for help. We don't have to worry about maybe double teaming. We can just keep this guy on, and he will hold him in basically in check.
So, Drew, what were the names of the two wide receivers that you dropped for Kansas?
Emmanuel Henderson Jr., and that's a transfer from Alabama, and Cam Pickett, and that was a transfer from Ball State.
Cool. I'm taking some notes. They were not on the master list, so I'm making sure that I get that now as opposed to having to go back and rewatch or read the transcript of the podcast. So why don't we pause here for a quick second? We've covered most of the players that were on the list already. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself? Let everybody know about your podcast and all the other content that you make.
Yes, you can check me out. It is the lastcallpodcast.com. Once again, this week we'll be talking with Ernest Silva, who will be covering the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans. Looking forward to having him on the show. And we love having Nino Brown. He'll be talking the recent wild week, which was college football, from Arch's debut, Bill Belichick's foray into college football and the rude awakening, and previewing some of the top games this week. I'm also on X, which is Last Call WChrisC. I'm on Facebook, last.call.520. And I am on LinkedIn, and I'm also a YouTube channel. So, yeah, I love having people on the show to tell their story, get what they're doing, and preview what's coming up for them.
Awesome. Drew, your first Draft Professor podcast. Welcome. You're kicking ass. Glad you're coming back next week. But introduce yourself to everybody and let them know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Drew Collings. I am a sophomore at the University of Kansas. I'm also cover the New Orleans Saints on a New Orleans Saints site called Who Dat Dish online. My X is at Drew M. Collings. I'm an aspiring scout. Love to do it. Really found my passion for it this past year. And this is my first year really getting into it, but I'm having a great time and loving going in depth on these prospects.
Cool. So on the 7 p.m. podcast, so Josh Townsend, he started podcasting with us. He was the same year in college as you. And then the University of Delaware hired him as a scout. He still podcasts with us, but, you know, he feels strong to the ties that he made within Draft Professor, but he's really busy scouting for Delaware, in addition to being a full-time student and a one-time-a-week podcaster. So I wish you great success, Drew, and welcome.
I'm happy to be able to be here.
Yeah. So my name's Jim. I am the person behind the Draft Professor Twitter account and YouTube account. What you get with Draft Professor are daily draft podcasts. This is the second podcast we've done today, typically at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern on weeknights. And then on Saturdays, our show is at 5:30. And Sundays, we have a show. We just haven't figured out what time we're doing it yet. Draft Professor is held together by people like Chris and Drew, which each show up one day a week to podcast whatever the subject of the hour is. And we couldn't do it. There's 24 people, just like Drew and Chris, that keep the channel going. We could not do this without you. So thank you very much. So if you are watching on YouTube and you can hit that subscribe, that is the best thank you you can give. So thank you for stopping by. Now, flipping back to Kansas and Missouri. So let's see. So Eddie Kelly and Zion Young are defensive linemen for Missouri. Do you have a draftable grade on either of them, Drew?
I like Zion Young. It's not a high grade. I'd say probably around the 6th round right now for me. He had 2.5 sacks, 6 TFLs in 2024. He's got great size, 6'5", 262, along with Eddie Kelly. Eddie Kelly is a pretty similar size. I'm at 6'5", 277. So these are both pretty decent-sized players coming off the edge. Zion Young, I'll go a little bit more on him. Played a couple years at Michigan State before transferring to Missouri, but I'm excited to see if he'll have an impact running alongside Damon Wilson Jr. He's going to draw a lot of attention. So if they double team him or have the running back shade over towards Wilson, Young's going to have a lot of opportunity. So I'm excited to see if he can take advantage of that.
Chris, how about you on Zion Young or Eddie Kelly? Do you see either of them as a draftable grade at the present time?
Yeah, right now Zion Young is probably in that 6th, 5th round, just because you want to see more consistency. You want to see more production. He looks the part. I mean, he is a lot like, as you mentioned, Damon Wilson Jr. He's this 6 foot, 4, 6'5", 260-pound defensive end, excellent burst, some good pass rush skills. It's just the consistency. He hasn't done it a lot yet. He's a guy who's bounced around, as you said, came from Michigan to here. It's the same with Wilson. Like, okay, you were good in spot starts. You were good, when you were a role player. What can you do now when you're a starter? What happens now when the teams are focusing on you and going, all right, hey, we're going to run at you. Hey, the whole game we're going to be, focusing on you. Hey, we're going to maybe chip you with a fullback or a tight end. He has all that, and look, we'll see what happens. Now that he might be one of those guys who all of a sudden gets to a 3rd, 4th because he'll be cleaning up because of Damon Wilson Jr. So again, if he comes out next year, probably around that 5th, 6th, I could see him staying in for another year, and all of a sudden you're talking 2nd, 3rd round, maybe 1st, just because he gets another year, gets another, some more technique, and all of a sudden he's still 6'6", 260 pounds, and you can't teach size of the NFL.
Okay. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of the players. That I'm kind of echoing this back for Spotify because the podcasts are also on Spotify. But here were some of the players that we talked about today. Offensive lineman Cayden Green from Missouri. Cornerback DJ Graham from Kansas. Wide receiver Kevin Coleman from Missouri. Tight end Brett Norfleet from Missouri. Quarterback Jalon Daniels from Kansas. Center Bryce Foster from Kansas. Center Connor Tollison from Missouri. Running back Ahmad Hardy from Missouri. Not draft eligible, but we did drop his name. Safety Jalen Catalon from Missouri. Edge Zion Young from Missouri. Defensive lineman Eddie Kelly from Missouri. Defensive lineman Chris McClellan from Missouri. Edge Damon Wilson Jr. from Missouri. We really didn't talk too much about wide receiver Marquis Johnson from Missouri. Chris, do you have anything on Marquis Johnson?
Yeah, last year was sort of a lost year. He was dinged up a bit, but he's a natural pass catcher. He has good hands, excellent focus. He can snatch a ball in the air. He's that guy who you can put in the slot, run quick routes. He's a violent runner. He looks to go upfield. He doesn't, dance around a lot. He has excellent, yards after the catch because he's willing to, break tackles. He's willing to go in the open field because he has the vision, creativity. I like when he also goes up and attacks the ball. I mean, you see wide receivers sometimes they get a bit alligator arms. They always worry about, letting the ball come to them. He will go after it. And he's 5'11", 185 pounds, not the biggest, dog in the yard, but he's a guy who has strong hands, doesn't really, fear anybody. And he's a natural playmaker. There are concerns. I mean, look, he's not a guy who is going to create separation. He's not that physical enough in terms of size and muscle, so that will be tricky. He's going to develop a better feel for sitting down zone coverages. He likes to go man to man. In zone, we're going to see, does he know how to get to the open spots? Does he know how to pick his places where he can just sit down and get the catch? And can he stay healthy? That's the biggest question. If he stays healthy, he can have a big year. His first game back, you looked and it was 5 receptions, 134 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. He is explosive. And now that he's number one guy, now that, he has a graduate quarterback who's giving the ball, He could have a big year. I have him right now as probably a 4th-round grade, but this is a guy who could probably go up to the 3rd, 2nd round just because he catches the ball and he knows how to make plays, and he's not afraid to just go over the middle and make that tough catch.
Okay. So, Drew, how about you on Marquis Johnson? What do you?
I really like him. I have a little bit higher. I have a late 3rd round grade on him right now. But I mean, you said it perfectly. I love this kid's mentality. He will go and get it despite only being, what is he, 5'11", 185. He will go get it. He's not afraid of a defender. He's not afraid of going into contact. And I really do like that. There are some negatives to him, as you were saying. I'm not going to reiterate those, but I do like his explosiveness. I don't think it's going to be game-breaking or anything like that. I think Kevin Coleman's a little bit more explosive, but I do like him in that Missouri offense. He's obviously going to be a focal point for them, and I think he's primed for a big season.
Okay. And then to continue the Spotify rundown, we also mentioned cornerback Toriano Pride from Missouri, wide receiver Emmanuel Henderson Jr. from Kansas, wide receiver Cam Pickett from Kansas. So if I add all that up, 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 17 names. So if I did that math quickly in my head, we dropped 17 names. Chris, over under 3 of the players in this game have their name called on draft day.
Over. I mean, just alone in the trenches, you're going to have Tollison's name get called. You're going to have Bryce Foster's name get called. You'll have Damon Wilson's name will get called, and Chris McClellan's name will get called. Those 4 alone, are going to get drafted just because they are big. They rush the passer for McClellan and Wilson, and Drew brought up a good point with the centers. They can play center. One is a pass blocking center, which every NFL team wants. And the other guy is a guy who just loves to just run people over. He is a freak athlete. And when you're 6'5", 330, the offensive line coach is just looking and go, ooh, I want that. I want that thing.
So, Drew, how about you? Over, under 3 players in this game have their name called for the 2026 NFL draft.
I'd hit the over too. I think Missouri's a really talented roster, and Kansas has some players who I think will get called too. I think we're going to get well over 3. And Cayden Green, I mean, we still need to see a lot of development with him. First game wasn't pretty, but I think he could get his name called. I think he'll settle in there. But yeah, I think there'll be well over 3 names called.
Okay. Well, and again, this was a tough week to find games where I'm going to say, I don't think, how do I want to say this? This podcast gave these players a lot of PR that they are not getting, right? This is the first podcast I heard talk about Marquis Johnson. I've heard Kevin Coleman's name dropped, but I still think you two spent more time on Kevin Coleman than every podcast combined up to this point on Draft Professor, right? So that was really good. And then the same thing actually with Damon Wilson Jr. You guys spent more time on Damon Wilson Jr. than any Draft Professor podcast leading up to today. So part of what we try to do at Draft Professor is we are trying to cover the draft thoroughly. We're trying to cover the top 175 players in the country from a draft perspective. So there's definitely players in this game that fit that top 175. So if you have a chance to tune into the game, you will learn some names that are going to get called in April.
I have a quick question for Drew because there's one guy that stood out to me. I'm dying to know more about. Drew, you probably know Enrique Cruz. Started every game at left tackle for Syracuse. Had an excellent 2023. What do you think of him? Because that's the guy who Zion Young and Damon Wilson Jr. are going to go up against. So if you're Kansas, do you trust him? Is he a guy that has upside, or is he a guy that's just a good college tackle?
1 second. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he is going to get – I don't know if I'm cutting out here, but he is going to get a lot of reps. It's going to be pivotal for him. He's got to protect Jalon Daniels. Jalon Daniels when he gets under pressure, he's definitely hindered. That's when he makes bad decisions. A lot of times he can scramble out of it, but not if it's immediate. So I think Enrique Cruz is going to have a really big opportunity ahead of him. I think Kansas is going to at least start him out like that. I think they're going to give him an opportunity to prove he can do one-on-one. And I do think he can handle it. If not, they'll have to shade someone over. But I do think Enrique Cruz can handle it. And I'm excited to see how he plays as well.
Okay. Well, any other questions? Dialogue in the game?
I got one more player I can bring up too.
All
Sure.
right.
I almost forgot one more player. So Devin Neal's been the lead back at Kansas for 4 years, and he's gotten a lot of the names. But running back Daniel Highshaw for Kansas, he's one more worth mentioning. He was actually here before Devin Neal, but he's in for a big year. He's got a big opportunity ahead of him. He's got almost 1,500 career yards, or over 1,500 with his past couple of games. Career yards. Season so far, 26 attempts, 151 and 1 touchdown. He didn't get a ton of opportunity in his first Fresno State game, but he's the lead back. He's a powerful back. He's strong. He can make one cut and go. His top speed is lacking a little bit. That's the area where he struggles, similar to Devin Neal in that way. But he's a powerful back who will get yards after contact, 5'10", 220. So be looking out for him to get a good amount of carries this game.
I'll go a little bit in the future. The two of the best players on defense, or I'd say one of the best players on defense. You probably know of him because of a famous family name, but he's a rising force from Missouri. That's Josiah Trotter. He's only a true sophomore, so he's not going to be draft eligible this year. They stole him away from a lot of colleges, like Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. They all were after him. Turned him down, committed to Missouri. First committed to West Virginia, transferred to Missouri. His dad is Jeremiah Trotter. His brother is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He is a 6'2", 238-pound tackling machine. Gets to the ball, is a playmaker. As a freshman alone, and most freshmen don't even play, when you are even in college, especially a true freshman. He was the Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. Had 56 tackles, half a sack, 1 interception, 2 pass defenses. He's not going to be – this won't be his year to get drafted this coming year. But in another year, like we mentioned when we were talking with Seaton for Colorado during the Colorado-Georgia Tech game, this is a guy you're going to look at and go, keep an eye on this guy. It's the family business. He's a better coverage corner than his brother, and he's only a sophomore. That's the scary part.
Okay. So we're going to close the podcast down. For Drew, for Chris, for myself, and the 91 podcasters at the Draft Professor, thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow, Ole Miss, Kentucky at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on a podcast again tomorrow.